Okay, back out here in the drum room, we're going to take a look at my drum setup. And this is the brand new Mapex Saturn IV Exotic kit that literally just came out. And I just became a Mapex artist at the beginning of 2013, so it's a big change for me. I played the same drums my whole career, so it's been really cool to have this new instrument and experience what it is. I use custom sizes actually that they made for me, and they've been awesome about doing these kind of things. Let's just start up here. This is a 10x7 tom, and the whole kit is maple walnut, hybrid shells, and a burl outer plies. And so 10x7 is a 12x7.5. It's a 14x13 floor and a 16x15 floor. And the aux kick drum is a 16x15 as well. And the main kick drum is a 22x16. And I use two snare drums in the setup. One is a little 10-inch Stinger snare drum, they call it. Great aux drum. Really happening small snare drum. And most small snare drums have so much pitch to them, but this one sounds like a snare drum. It just sounds like a high-pitched snare drum, so I really enjoy it. And this is a signature model drum that we are working on right now that will be out very soon. And that's kind of my primary snare drum. All Mapex hardware, Mapex Falcon pedals I've been using since 2010 actually. And this is all the new Falcon hardware. It's brand new for 2013. The Falcon hi-hat stand and all the booms, everything is redesigned and brand new. The hi-hat stand, I love it. The legs go 360 around and pop off. And so you can make it a legless stand instantly and put it on a double kick or a rack or anything. Really cool. And all the cymbal stands are one-step tilter stuff, and the tilters actually spin 360 on these too, which is a really cool design. And I never used felts on top of the cymbals until this new Mapex hardware. You can see there's attenuators on here. There's a rubber side and a felt side, and you can create different sounds and mute the cymbal. Like if I do felt top and bottom, it'll dry the cymbal up. If I want to open the cymbal up, I flip it and put rubber, and then maybe felt on the bottom, rubber on top, or in the crashes I have rubber top and bottom. And it's been really cool to like hone in the cymbals. If I felt like there was a little pitch in the cymbal coming into the mics, I could clean it up a little bit by changing the attenuation on the cymbal tilter. It's another tweak that we'd never had before. So it's pretty cool. And yeah, so I have my signature Mino cowbell and the wedge stuff from Yamaha, the groove wedge and Cascara wedge, and the sub kick out front there as a part of the miking setup. And that pretty much does it. I keep a 13-inch tom around, 13/8 actually, and I always keep the same setup, but sometimes I'll change the sizes a little bit depending on the style. And on my gig on American Idol, I'll use sometimes bigger toms because we'll be doing more rock and country and things like that, and sometimes the 10-inch tom's a little too jazzy, fusion-y sounding. So that usually is a part of my setup. But I don't use 3 high toms, but I have 3 high toms that I use and kind of swap them in and out. So that's my setup. Of course, Zildjian cymbals and Remo heads. The head setup is pretty consistent. I really don't change it much. Coated Ambassadors top, clear Ambassador bottom, and the 16 I use an Ambassador X. And that dries up the drum a tiny bit, keeps a little bit of the long sustain out of the drum. And what I've really found with the drum selection, and part of the reason for me moving to Mapex was I felt like my drum sound was kind of going off in a different direction. It was this big, ambient, huge sound that had so much sympathetic vibration that I started to hear on tape just this constant rumble of stuff. The toms just constantly rumbling and ringing, and then live, it would work. It would have frequency buildups on the big drums and things. And I started to really think about the sound that I grew up with, which was a very punchy, deliberate sound, what we know as like a recording type sound. And most of those were birch shells. But I really like a sound that is big and fat, but it gets in and gets out. You know, it just sort of does what it's supposed to do and doesn't hang around too long. And these drums are really what I consider kind of the 2013 recording kit. You know, they record really well and translate really well. And part of that is the head selection, the Coated Ambassador, Ambassador X. On the snare drums, I've used Fiberskin 3 Diplomats for years now. A good friend of mine, Jeff Hamilton, hit me to those. And they're great for brushes, really the best head for brushes. But they also have an amazing kind of flappy, sort of wet, sort of puffy sound to them on the snare drum that just records really, really good. And on the kick drums, I use a Renaissance 3 Power Stroke 3. And those are sort of they have a little less attack than a regular Power Stroke. And that's the heads. Zildjian cymbals, like I said, that changes from time to time. And of course, my Vic Firth signature sticks and brushes.